fellow Trek Chatters. I'm Pit Trekkie and welcome to another episode of Pittsburgh's Trek Chat. So what I want to talk to all of you about in today's episode is talk about local Comicons. I'm sure a lot of people love to go to the local Comicons. They're a lot smaller than some of the bigger ones, but they're just as much fun. They pack in just as much entertainment and options to buy different things for your collections. They're wonderful. Last week, the local Comic-Con here in the Pittsburgh area, Steel City Con, occurred from Friday, August 13th to Sunday, August 15th. And again, it was another wonderful opportunity to go and see actors and singers and wrestlers, just a whole bunch of different people from pop culture. So once again, another great weekend of entertainment, and the vendors room is just outstanding at Steel City Con. I can honestly tell you, I think it rivals the Star Trek conventions that Creation has given over the years. There's just so many different things that you can look at and buy. So Will Wheaton was actually supposed to be the Star Trek representation at this Comic-Con this past weekend. Unfortunately, for different reasons, he had to cancel and wasn't able to make it. Hopefully he'll be back sometime next year is what we're looking for. The only real Star Trek representation we had at Steel City Con this time around was Lisa Wilcox. And for those of you who don't know, she played Yuta in the third season Next Generation episode, The Vengeance Factor. But she wasn't there to represent Star Trek. She was there to represent the Nightmare on Elm Street panel. So then, even in her panel with the Nightmare from Elm Street people, she didn't discuss Star Trek. Nobody asked her any Star Trek questions. But really, the reason why I want to talk about Steel City Con today is because I think it's important that we really support the local Comic-Cons that come our way, especially now with everything being shut down for so long due to COVID. People basically going stir crazy in their homes. As long as they're doing it safely, I think it's a wonderful thing that they're finally opening back up and people are getting out there. And boy, let me tell you, the convention the last 2 times here this year have been crazy busy. Let me tell you. I mean, it got to the point on Saturday the 14th here of the convention that we could barely move. I mean, we were literally shoulder to shoulder trying to get through. It was nuts. But to me, I kind of like that only because it shows that the Comic-Cons are growing. So really, with Steel City Con, like I said, the numbers just seem to be growing each and every time, even down to the amount of celebrities that are there and the vendors. So the next one is going to be coming in December. I believe it's December 11th, 12th, and 13th, if I'm thinking correctly. And I don't believe as of now there's going to be any Star Trek representation, but I'm hoping that there will be. That's the fun part of the 4 months in between the conventions, is slowly getting to see who's going to be there. But getting back to my point about supporting local Comic-Cons, I think it's very important. Especially, I've noticed this in the last couple times as Steel City Con has been back in June and here in August. There are reasons why I think everybody should be supporting any local Comic-Con. Whether it's called Comic-Con or it's some sort of small fan-led event, it's important for people to go. And here are some of the reasons. Local Comic-Cons support local artists and authors. One thing that really has been wonderful with Steel City Con here in the Monroeville area is we've seen a lot of local Pittsburgh artists, a lot of authors, a lot of YouTube content makers, budding TV and film actors that are starting to get themselves known in the convention area. But during each Steel City Con, local artists, they bring their paintings and drawings to shows. You've got people advertising books that they've written. You've got local artists who have done, not only written, but have drawn pictures and art for comic books that they're doing. So they're getting their creativity out into the market and they're getting themselves well known. And that's a big way for these people to start to grow their brands of what they're doing. The other thing that I've noticed about local Comic-Cons is they help bring a sense of community together for people. Like I said, the Steel City Con happens over a weekend, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And it brings people from all over the place there. And it's not just, the one thing I like about the Comicons versus Star Trek conventions is that it brings a whole bunch of genres together. When you're there, you've got, sci-fi fans, you've got superhero fans, you've got comic book fans, there's a big turnout of anime fans, you got furries that turn out, and a lot of them come together for the costume contest that happens on Sunday afternoons. And it's a whole group of different types of people that represent these different communities. It's just wonderful. It's wonderful to see. And it's not only little kids, but it's all the way up to middle-aged to older-aged adults that are engaging in the most creative cosplays that you could possibly imagine. What also is great about local Comic-Cons is that it brings a lot of people who only know each other on social media together for the first time. I've noticed it a lot, not so much per se with Steel City Con on my end, but I know from Star Trek Las Vegas, which recently just happened, the same weekend actually as Steel City Con, just last weekend, a lot of people were saying on Twitter, I've only met you people on Twitter, through Trek Twitter or other kind of Twitter, and I'm now meeting you for the first time. So that's what these Comic-Cons actually are able to do, is it unites people from all over the country, maybe even all over the world, in these areas of interest that they share. So it's wonderful to see those kind of things on social media, and people actually who would never know each other existed in the first place coming together at these local cons and actually getting to share their interests and getting to meet each other for the first time. Especially now with COVID going on, people finally getting to network and reconnect together. I think it's wonderful. The other thing that's really great about Steel City Con is a lot of local fan clubs oftentimes come together and meet. Not only to just recruit, but just to kind of share their camaraderie. There is a Star Wars group that comes out, the 501st Legion, and they always have a table at Steel City Con. And it's got sometimes stickers. Last time they had little tattoos that you could put on. They have little bubblegum cards with their group pictures on it. So it's a great way for them to recruit, and you get to see some really awesome costumes from the 501st Legion. I believe it's actually part of a requirement for you to join the 501st Legion is to actually create your own costumes from scratch, they're incredible. And I've also seen over the years some local Star Trek fan clubs come together, specifically Pittsburgh chapters for Starfleet International. I know that I've looked into joining Starfleet International. I still might, just with my work schedule, it's very hard for me to commit to joining a local fan club. But I know for Starfleet International, this is Region 7 out here. One of the local ships is the USS Stella Parada, led by a good friend of mine. Her name's Maria. I saw that she was actually recruiting people at the convention, and I think that that's wonderful. Again, building that sense of community, everybody coming together for a common cause, and that's what local Comic-Cons actually do very, very well. Also, these local Comic-Cons tend to stimulate business in the local area. So even though Steel City Con is in the Pittsburgh area, it's actually held in Monroeville, the Monroeville Convention Center. There's a DoubleTree Hotel where I believe a lot of the celebrities stay, and a lot of people who are coming from out of town or out of state actually stay for the convention. So that stimulates their business. But also, I see a lot of people going to the local restaurants in the area. And Monroeville is filled with some wonderful restaurants. Mexican restaurants, then your standards like Olive Garden, TGI Friday, let's see what else, Applebee's, Outback Steakhouse, those kind of places. But then you also have your fast food places as well. But there are also a lot of independent restaurants that people will go to and frequent as well. So that stimulates the economy, the local economy in that area. Plus there are also a lot of little shops and places that people can frequent, especially if they need fabrics or other kinds of materials for their cosplay costumes. You've got Joann Fabrics, you've got a whole bunch of other places throughout the area. I believe there's a Home Goods there. So again, it stimulates the economy in a way in that area, and I think that that's just wonderful. And it puts Pittsburgh and it puts Monroeville on the map every 4 months. Also, small independent businesses will come to Steel City Con to advertise their businesses and to sell their wares. So a lot of what I noticed with the vendors at Steel City Con, a lot of them are from local comic shops here in the Western Pennsylvania area, but there are also people that come down from like up north in Erie or come across from Philadelphia down to the conventions. I've even seen some people from Ohio that have been out there. There might have been a couple others, I can't remember exactly, but it gives them a chance to advertise their comic book shops or their video game shops or their toy shops that they have, their retro toys. There are also people who are craft makers that will spend months creating some really unique things with a comic book theme or a sci-fi theme or anime theme and actually sell that stuff. I'm actually going to show you a couple of those products here in this video, but just some of the craftsmanship that these people have, it's the most creative things. One of the things that I really saw that people were creating was with this beadwork. I don't know how to describe it. I think they're called perler beads, but what they do is they make these patterns out of these beads and then they put down wax paper and iron them and make the most unique, creative things. And it's not just little magnets or things like that. They're making like big pictures and they're selling them for very relatively inexpensive prices. And they are extremely creative. I mean, I don't even know if they're following patterns, if they're actually making their own patterns, but I saw Super Mario Brothers ones, specifically Raccoon Mario from Super Mario Brothers 3. I saw a lot of Star Wars ones. I saw Yoda. A whole bunch of other different products. I can't remember, but I think there were like maybe Superman, Batman, other licensed characters. There might have been some Wonder Woman logos. Just some amazing stuff. I saw jewelry that people made. This is past the perler beads. But people have made jewelry out of different things, out of metals and twist-off bottle caps. Made earrings, things out of the most unique stuff that you could think of. So these creative people get to come down here and actually sell this stuff. Some people made wallets. I actually saw people make sci-fi and anime and comic book holders for your bottles of hand sanitizer. The neatest thing. Purses, wallets, pillows, just unbelievable stuff. The talent is incredible. And I'm looking forward to sharing some of that with you here shortly. But also local Comicons help with creating a positive family environment. Families, since the pandemic, have not had a lot of social activities where they could go as families together and enjoy. Even just going back to the movie theaters has been something that's been just recently starting back up with everything. So you've got people bringing their kids down in their little cosplay uniforms and they get to meet some of the actors or the wrestlers or the singers, anybody that's at the convention that they really, really love, they get to meet them and to see the little kids light up during these shows. That is the highlight of it for me, seeing them actually light up and being around their heroes and their celebrities. It's just the greatest little thing. And the actors and the people that come down are usually very gracious with the people. Yes, I'm sure you have to pay for your photo ops, not the professional ones, but your selfies and all those kind of things. But I've seen people actually be very warm and inviting to people. There was a little girl during the Carl Weathers panel that happened, and she actually said to him, she goes, I want to be an artist when I grow up. Do you have any ins? And of course people laughed, but the cute thing that came out of that is Carl Weathers said to her, he said, you know what, if that's the dream, that's what you're calling, that's what you want to do, pursue it. But get your education, because there are a lot of people that get into trying to be actors and actresses and singers, and what they try to do is they try to pitch their star to that wagon only, and if that fails, they have nothing to bank on. So he pushed to her and to the entire audience, get your education so that you've got that business degree, you've got that teaching degree, you've got that psychology degree, whatever it is, social work, to be able to go and find something else to do. But he did not deter her, and I think that was absolutely wonderful. So the other thing with families going to Steel City Con or local Comicons is the costume contest. I brought that up a little bit earlier. But seeing mothers and fathers and grandparents and aunts and uncles and siblings going up there cheering on their child or even their adult child as they're up there showing off the hard work that they put into their costumes. Whether they win or not, it still doesn't matter. It's still that they got to go there and cheer them on. I think it's just a wonderful bonding experience all the way around. And local Comic-Cons are not that expensive. I'll be honest with you, the prices for Steel City Con back just this last week, for a regular day pass, it was only $23 to get in. That was for Friday or if you went on Sundays. On Saturdays, things are a little bit busier and there's a lot more going on Saturdays. So really there was a $35 pass to get in just for the day pass. If you bought a $50, if you bought a 3-day pass, it was $50. Not bad at all. Then what you could do, and what I did, was I actually upgraded to a VIP package. So what I did was I bought a day pass on Friday for $23. And then for $100 extra, I got to upgrade to the VIP package, which was totally worth it. I'm never going back to Steel City Con again without that VIP pass, because you have VIP seating in the first 3 rows. Okay, you get a really nice tote bag that really is very helpful if you're going around the convention and buying doodads like I like to do. Because you can, instead of getting all these plastic bags you have to carry, you can stick a lot of your stuff in these Steel City Con logo tote bags, which are really cool. You also get a t-shirt that comes with it. This Steel City Con 2021 t-shirt actually did not come from last weekend's Steel City Con. It came from the Steel City Con in June. They actually gave me a different one. That was really cool. It kind of has like a zombie head on the front. It says Steel City Con 2021, but this one has like a superhero coming out of a wall. So I'm curious to see if there are going to be any different ones for the December 2021 Steel City Con. It also comes with a lanyard, a collectible lanyard. It says VIP on the front, has the dates of the convention, a picture of whatever's on the t-shirt. Then if you turn it over, it's got every celebrity listed that's actually attending. The only downside is a lot of the people that are on the VIP pass canceled at the last second due to filming commitments or concerns from Comic-Con, or not Comic-Con, COVID. Concerns about COVID, so they didn't come to the Comic-Con. All right. So I think that they're just very wonderful experiences for people who just want to go by themselves, or especially for families and little kids getting to go and have a good time. It's like watching them light up like we used to when we were kids at Children's Palace or at Toys R Us, or for local people here in my area, Hills Department Store. Just wonderful opportunities. So that's why I would say definitely go to your local Comic-Cons, support them anytime they come out, because they are totally worth it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to share some of the wonderful Trek items, Star Trek items that I bought at Steel City Con, because I obviously go there for the Star Trek stuff, but I also buy some other things that I've been wanting too. So the first night I was there on Friday the 13th, ironically, I bought this Star Trek Voyager Lieutenant Tom Paris action figure from one of the vendors. I got them for only $5. The reason why I bought the Tom Paris action figure the biggest reason is because I hear that Tom Paris is going to be reprising his role, or Robert Duncan McNeil reprising his role as Tom Paris in this season, season 2 of Star Trek Lower Decks. I thought it'd be a cool way to kind of like acknowledge that. So that's why I made sure I bought the Tom Paris action figure. And obviously what I'm going to do is I'm going to open them and put them in my Star Trek curio cabinet in my Star Trek man cave. I'm not one of those people that like to keep collectibles in. I like to feel my figures. I like to have them tangible in my hands. So he'll be getting opened up at some point and put back into there. Also on Friday at the convention, I also bought these Star Trek action figures from Playmates Toys from 1993. A vendor was selling a whole bunch of loose Star Trek Playmates action figures. And the reason why I bought Kirk and the reason why I bought Spock loose is back when I was in first grade, second grade, my twin brother and I, obviously like a lot of siblings did, or a lot of kids did, played Star Trek at home. And I was Captain Kirk and he was Mr. Spock. So when I saw these two figures, I said to myself, you know what, I'm a very sentimental person, very big on nostalgia. I just thought it would be kind of touching and kind of nice if I bought these two figures together and said to myself, you know what, these are reminders of those good times when Matt and I, my twin brother Matt and I, played Star Trek together and we were Kirk and Spock. So I'm going to display these somewhere, and those are going to be my reminders of those times when we were kids. Excellent times, excellent times. Another thing that I bought loose was this Lieutenant Commander Worf figure from Star Trek First Contact from 1996. Now, I have the entire collection of these figures. I actually bought my original copy of Worf during my 10th grade marching band spring trip to Ohio. I bought him at a KB toy store on clearance. And unfortunately, my figures got exposed to the sun, and for some reason the African American characters that I have of the Playmates action figures faded. Only those ones, and it drives me nuts. And I was hoping I'd find a way to restore them, but I don't think I'm going to. So when I saw him loose for $2, I said to myself, what a good way to replace him. And make sure, Chris, you don't put him in the sun again. So he'll be in a good, safe place. But I've always loved this figure. It's got the movable baldric. Just a neat figure. Good sculpt of Worf. Going into the end of Friday night. This was probably the best thing that I bought from the entire convention. And it was from a woman who made crafts. This Star Trek pillow. I absolutely love it. The pattern, it's got all the original series figures in it. It's got schematics of the Enterprise on it. Just one of the neatest little things that I bought. Now, what I did was I loved it so much that I went on Sunday to buy. I bought a second one of these. I'm trying to figure out, do I want to put these on my couch in my office at my private practice where I do counseling, or do I want to keep them for home in my Star Trek man cave? I haven't decided yet. Maybe you guys can put in the comments below what you guys think. All right. I wanted to buy, there was a white pillow there with the Enterprise on it on Friday. And if I would have been thinking, I would have bought that one at the same time, and I didn't. I went back on Sunday hoping she had more of them, and unfortunately she didn't. She's not going to be back at Steel City Con until the April 2022 show. So I'm glad I got at least two of this exact same pillow. I love them. I think they're wonderful, and they're going to be very easy to wash and manage. So I thought that was really cool. All right, going into Saturday, I went back to that exact same vendor who had the loose Playmates Toys action figures, and I bought these two Counselor Troy figures. It basically completes my Playmates Toys Counselor Troy action figure line. Again, I'm a therapist. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, so I have to represent our ship's counselor, Counselor Troy, in my office. So I have one from her in the 6th season Next Generation episode, from Chains of Command, where she started to wear her uniform. I also have her in her First Contact uniform, both in the 1996 First Contact 6-inch figure and one of the last figures that Playmates released in the 4.5-inch series. I already have those in my office, and now I have 2nd season Counselor Troy and seasons 3, 4, 5, and 6 Counselor Troy in her light purple outfit. So they're going to be going on my file cabinet with the other Counselor Troys. All right. The other thing that I bought were two necklaces that a very creative individual woman made from a whole bunch of different genres. So she made necklaces out of these bottle caps and put pictures of different actors, singers, whatever. I bought one of these for my wife because she's a big fan of New Kids on the Block, and they actually had a New Kids on the Block one there. But I'm going to see if I can bring this in here a little bit. But yeah, I had this one's of Captain Kirk from the Trouble with Tribbles. And the other one I actually have on my neck right now. It's Captain Picard on the Enterprise E bridge from Star Trek First Contact. She did a really nice job on these. I was so glad to buy them. I got them 2 for $10. I just think they were the neatest things. And she even made them into earrings, which I thought was really cool, and to keychains. On Sunday, the last day of the convention, I didn't have a whole lot of money to spend, but I got a couple little doodads. I got this Star Trek The Motion Picture magnet that I'm going to be putting on my file cabinet here at the private practice. I also got this Star Trek Deep Space Nine magnet that I'm going to be putting on my file cabinet here in my office. So like I said, I didn't get a whole lot of stuff from Star Trek that day. There were some other things that I bought at the convention. Specifically, I bought a teddy bear. Now, at the June Star Trek or Steel City Con, I bought a bear with a Spock uniform on. I got him for $8. Well, I went to the exact same vendor this time at the August convention. They didn't have any Star Trek teddy bears, but they had a teddy bear in a Batman outfit. So I got him, and he was only $6 this time. So I was like, heck yeah, this is wonderful, okay? So those bears are really cool. I'm also a big fan of the 4 Batman movies that were made in the late 80s into the 90s. I finally got a action figure of the Riddler from Batman Forever, and I got the Poison Ivy action figure from Batman and Robin. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do with those, but they're going to go into my Batman collection. I also bought 2 Super Nintendo video games. I bought Clue. I used to play that video game when I was a teenager, when it came out, and I got it for $5. So I brought it home, and then the very next day, on Saturday, I bought a Star Wars video game that I've never played, but I've been wanting to play. It was called Super Star Wars. So what I did last Saturday night is I found my old 30-year-old Super Nintendo system that we had when we were kids, and I got it working. So I got to play both of those games, which was really cool. I also bought a figure. I'm drawing a blank on the character's name, but because Carl Weathers was there on Sunday, I bought his Star Wars The Black Series Mandalorian action figure of his character. Is his name Grief or something? I can't remember. But I thought it'd be a nice way to remember that was the convention he was at, and that's the day I saw him, so I would get that figure and it'll be a good memory. Can't really think of anything else. I might have bought 1 or 2 other things. Oh, back to Batman. Batman Returns is my favorite of the original 4 Batman movies, and I had the Catwoman toy from their McDonald's Happy Meal from 1992, but I had it open, so I bought one that was sealed. It was only $1. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I also bought my wife, she loves Tigger, so I bought her a little Tigger keychain clip. It was from a McDonald's Happy Meal from 2000 from the Tigger movie. But that was my experience at Steel City Con. So basically, what I'm hoping that you got from this video is support your local Comicons. You got some wonderful people coming out there to support their crafts. They're working really hard to bring some good materials and good items to you for these shows. It helps to stimulate the economy in your local areas, and it stimulates interest in the comic book pop culture scene. And I think ever since The Big Bang Theory, it's kind of become cool to be geeky and to be nerdy. I'm just proud that I've been a big nerd ever since 5 years old when Thundercats was my first obsession. Then it led into Star Trek, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, a whole bunch of other stuff. So, you know what, and it unites families and it helps you to meet and make some really good friends. So that's all I have to say. If anybody wants to comment below, please, if you watch the video, make some comments. Share some of your memories from your local Comic-Cons, or maybe what some of the things that I showed you, if that stimulates some good memories from you with your families and getting to geek out and nerd out. So you can follow the show Pittsburgh's Trek Chat. You can go on to YouTube, just type in Pittsburgh's Trek Chat in the search engine and it'll take you directly to my channel. You can follow the show on Facebook. Just go to facebook.com/Pittsburgh's Trek Chat. You can also follow the show on Twitter at PGH Trek Chat. I'm looking forward to seeing all of you in the next episode. Until then, may yins live long and prosper.